Wizards, welcome back. Now today I'm pretty excited because we get to revisit one of my favorite belts that I've ever seen with the Dynamic Principles gun. Actually, hold on just a second. And that's because Tier Tactical actually sent a letter to Dynamic Principles explaining that they've trademarked and own any combination of the term gunfighter when it comes to battle belts, which is kind of funny because there's all these other brands that apparently they just don't give a crap. It's also funny because I didn't even know that Tier made a belt, let alone of the same name. And when I did go look at it, I quickly understood why nobody knew it existed. So Dynamic Principles actually did something cool, and they asked their community, explained what happened, and asked the whole community to come together and help them rename their belt. Because apparently nobody else uses gunfighter, whatever. So the new name of the Dynamic Principles belt, as you'll see me reference it so it's not confusing, is the Modular Buckle Battle Belt, or MB3. So let's start all over. I'm excited to revisit the Dynamic Principles MB3 because it's one of the best belts I've ever seen. And I had a million questions about that setup. I mean, I thought I answered a bunch of them in that review, but apparently not. There was just a ton more questions down in the comments. So I will get into those, get into way more details about that loadout. Dynamic Principles also has more cool bits that should be available now, also like that glove hook that I teased you with. And no, if you're wondering, the Tier belt doesn't have swappable buckles, nor can you attach pouches directly onto the belt, which makes the whole thing, the whole conversation, so insanely dumb. So let's get into this loadout, and I know I always forget to tell you guys this, you can also use discount code TLDCO to save a whole bunch on the Dynamic Principles website. I'm gonna show you guys a bunch of belt stuff with the pouches and all the loadouts, but you can also use the discount code to save a ton on the plate carriers, on the placards, all the stuff that's on there. So today we'll go over our original Assaulter review configuration of the MB3, along with the more patrol-focused duty loadout, and even a more niche race gun competition setup, just to show you some of the scope of the options that come in just one belt. I said it before in that review, and I'll say it again, I think we're really just getting kind of to the beginning of what people can come up with as to what they want to have attached to a modular buckle system or modular belt when you can do pretty much anything you want. I know one of you out there is going to think of something that none of us even considered, so hopefully by me showing you some of these loadouts and how I have them set up, it'll spur some of your imagination and help you think of something cool. I'll get to it, but first, sponsor love. Today's video is sponsored by Fatboy tripods. When you're out in the wild, you can't pick your terrain, and the Fatboy family of products helps you maximize the hunt. From the Elevate tripod that lets you loosen and lift to get the perfect height on any terrain, to the Elevate head that allows you to lock or change your position with the flick of a wrist. The Fatboy tripods are just mastering accuracy. Look at this, literally anywhere. Now it's hard because you guys don't see behind the scenes, but if you were to look now, you see I'm using a Fatboy tripod right now. I use it at the range. I use it for all the stuff we do on the table. And it's amazing that these tripods have survived just the daily abuse that I put them through, from just recording to the range and everything else. So if you want to pick up one of these tripods that I think I've definitely tested the crap out of, make sure to use discount code TLDCO over on that Fatboy website, save a ton. Fatboy is also great because they support all this silliness and the ridiculous that we do here. Now though, let's get into my biases and do this super fast. So I'm super biased, and I think Dynamic Principles is a great person and one of the true innovators in the gear community right now. I definitely refer to him as a friend, so be aware of my very, very heavy biases. But it's thanks to our Patreon supporters that we can say and do whatever we want. Don't take what I say or any other YouTuber says as gospel. Remember that some gun companies are giving a 10% commission on a 3.4 thousand monkey gun. So there's a lot of incentive there to pad the truth, and that should make you ask some hard questions. Do your own research so you can be the most educated consumer possible. All right, let's first take a look at the Assaulter configuration. I think that one's going to be more familiar with most of you and what most of you set your belts up, and it's the configuration we did in the review. And then we'll get into more law enforcement specific configurations. I'll also put timestamps down below so you can jump to exactly what you want to see, from the Assaulter to law enforcement to competition setups. Taking a quick look at what this setup is, the Assaulter configuration is for fast dynamic missions from military to prepared civilians that try to do a little bit of everything from pistol, rifle, medical, and tools to give you a powerful set of first-line gear. Starting with the front pouches, I have the Cantable 2011 pistol pouches. These use an external cordura, but standard S-Tech inserts to give you the best of retention and reindexing possible. Now, the standard pistol pouches work just fine, but the 2011 ones are just specifically designed for these mags, and they do work a little bit better. I have the front pistol mag pouch with a pretty heavy cant and a little less for the second one, so you can grab it with a sweeping motion from the hand. When setting this up though, laying the belt out flat may give you a false sense of position, so remember to wrap it in a circle like it's gonna be around your body to see how close your positioning really is, and it'll help you to get it perfect. Moving down, we have the Cantable AR mag pouch. Much like the pistol pouch, we again have a cordura wrapped outer, so you can customize this look, along with these standard S-Tech inserts for that retention and reindexing that has dominated the market for years. Here I gave it a slight cant and dropped it down slightly, so it's easier to get that perfect Coke can grip along my side, but you can adjust it to whatever fits your body best. Now, would it be better if I could drop this down even more so it doesn't jab into my side and I can still cant it? Yes, and that's what I'll show you that we did on our duty loadout to save the ribs of officers everywhere. Moving back on the belt though, we have our Pimp's multi-tool pouch. This is simple and effective with nice retention and a hook and loop tab to keep it all locked in place. Now, I certainly don't think that I don't need it to be canted, but I certainly wouldn't be mad if it was an option later. And the same goes for the flashlight pouch. This pouch is just mollied in and it holds the flashlight with a flap and elastic retention. But again, being able to cant this would just give it a free +1 to the whole design. Getting rid of my dump pouch, I'm not really out anything because this rifle mag pouch can still hold my phone, which is really all that I needed my dump pouch for anyway. And that's how you know, you see this setup, that's how you know somebody is super serious at the range. Now, moving around to the rear, we have the Flatline Fiber Practical Individual Medical Pouch, or PIMPS Medical. Now, Dynamic Principles actually recommended this medical pouch to me. I think that's, well, number one, because he likes it a lot, but I think the main reason is because he just wants me to have a setup where all the pouches on the belt are just different pimps names of things I have attached. And see, Dynamic Principles, it would be like against the calling of the universe to not have Cantable Pimps pouches, and you know it too. I'm sure I'll make those eventually. But this Flatline medical pouch, how do I put this? I don't love it. The outer sleeve has bungee along the top to tighten and loosen, but it's fairly difficult to get to this with either hands as it only loosens on the right side. I guess I'll just have to remember to only get injured on my left side so I still have my right hand free to access this bungee. Now, I would normally just keep this looser, but if you do that so you can actually get to the inner pouch and have it be loose enough to grab it, well, then it's loose enough where the pouch can just come out and just spill all over the place. And yeah, the front panel has a nice hook and loop portion for markers and stuff like this medical pouch. The bottom, though, is this one wrap design that's a pain to adjust. It's a pain to get even. Yeah, it's pretty much a pain to do anything with. Now, I know why they do this because people always load up their medical pouches and everything with like way too much equipment. But this is not a good solution. It is just horrible from an end user to try to change this at all. And I would sew this closed at the first moment that I got. On the inner pouch, you can store scissors nicely along the back of this with a little holder that can flip sides. The inner pouch is a little simpler than I would like, with just one big bit of elastic that apparently I just get to dig through in an emergency. Maybe I'm the ridiculous one here. I just expect to see something smarter. I don't know how having this, like digging through all this, is any better than just having a pouch and throwing it all on the ground. It's pretty much the same at this point. And I say that because I've seen so many other good options lately, like the HRT Medical gave you the outer expansion in a far better way, along with a customizable inner sled that was a bit smarter. So the Flatline Fiber Pimp just was not a wow for me. I mean, every time you put it back in your belt, makes you want to punch yourself. So that is a bit of a wow moment, I suppose. Good grief. We'll leave it, but I'm definitely not going to be buying, it's not even sitting there rightly. I'm definitely not going to be buying another one of these. Keeping moving around the belt though, we have our bang hanger with our Safari Line QLS and 6360 RDS holster for our Bull Tac Pro 5-inch, and we've used this pistol on a ton of other belt setups, and it just works great. And I think my favorite part about doing belt loadout reviews or just belt videos is that in every video, I take the extra time to explain and say exactly what holster I'm using. And in every single video, there's like 100 comments that say, hey, what holster is that? It's brain damage. But for our last bit is our Dynamic Principles glove module that I have hooked into the 1-inch Cobra buckle module with our tan pig gloves that I don't think I've ever even actually used. Now, I did tease this glove hook module in the review, but by the time this loadout video comes out, these glove hook modules should be out now. And since they just tie in to the buckle module, they're easy to just add in and upgrade your belt system without having to get a whole bunch of extra different stuff. You just hook this bad boy right in, or you can bolt it into other positions. Whatever you want to do. But that's our whole assaulter configuration. And I think this one's pretty familiar because it's pretty similar to what I do in all my belt setups. There's just a couple little small tweaks here. But let's get into a more specific loadout to show what exactly this MB3 can do with a little bit more of a dedicated setup with our duty belt configuration. And here, kind of as an overview, the duty belt is more focused on specific needs of a law enforcement officer to provide quick access to cuffs, things I don't need, mags, and tools while working to keep every item tucked away and giving the officer additional comfort while still adding functionality. Hold on though. I am going to show you a lot of options. That doesn't mean you have to do all of the options like how I have it set up. I would likely remove some of these as this is just too much, but I want to show you a demonstration of all the different things you could have, and I'm doing it on one belt. Doesn't mean you would do all of this at once. Just don't set your belt up like Batman with shark repellent and like wall spackle on your belt. Now, starting with the front of this duty setup, you'll see a more unique design with the front buckle slightly offset so I can do a front vertical AR mag pouch. I also gave this a slight cant upward so the mag is set in an easier position to make it a lot simpler to grab for a fast reload. I find myself, when I get to use it, I find myself preferring this front horizontal mag. It makes for really fast and easy reloads, but only some belts actually let you do it. Like I believe I set it up on the HRT ARC 1.0 and 2.0 and then this MB3. So bonus points to the MB3 for sure for letting me set it up like this. Moving down to our pistol pouches, here again you see some similarities with the two Cantable pouches. I set these in less of a waterfall pattern so there's a more consistent draw from either mag, but they're the same 2011 style pouches as before. Do most officers have a 2011? Well, no. But they should, that's for sure. And no, not staccato. Staccato sucks. Now going back to these Cantables though, I really do love that they can be any color due to the outer Corduro, but they still use the same S-Tech style inserts. Now moving backwards, we see another AR mag pouch, but this time we're using the drop mag hanger to get the mag even lower, as I mentioned earlier. This still gives the mag the nice cant to get the perfect Coke can grip for your body type, but now you can also vary the height even more. Now the new drop mag is for anybody that rides in a vehicle and wants to have their mag sit lower, obviously from the name. And what's great about this is you can position it in a way where it gets low enough, the whole point of this, so the top of the mag when you're moving around in the vehicle or just shifting position is no longer jabbing you in the side of your ribs. That always drives me crazy out at the range. I'm trying to just pick up mags or do something more dynamic. So I'm sure those of you who are doing more duty roles and having to wear this all the time will absolutely love this. Now again, you have more spacing than you think when the belt is actually rolled in a circle, so check your setup when worn and not flat to get the perfect position. Moving down, we have our same pimp multi-tool and flashlight pouches in black because this combo just makes sense and is far more useful than a dump pouch. For our medical, we have an RTS IFAK. It's the big boy one. This medical setup is a bit large, yeah, but everything is done in a smart way with an easy deployment and all of your medical kit contained in one area. So you can get to your specific medical equipment without spilling everything else out. I also like that I can hand this off to somebody and then they can open the whole thing up and just be like, oh, look, here's the gauze. And not like the flat one over there that's like, hey, jerk, it's just all this crap in an elastic band. Yeah. Sorry, bro. Keeping going around, we have a Dynamic Principles cuff pouch that gives you the same great retention of the S-Tech version because it uses the same S-Tech insert. but instead uses a relief cut into the center so you can snag your cuffs a ton easier. There's actually a lot of good cuff pouches out on the market. Now with this one though, I canted it because we can. And it makes it stand by itself because it's also a lot easier to get to. And the best part is I can adjust the ride height higher, or in my case lower, so I can get to it even with my horrible flexibility. Why somebody keeps sending cuffs to some guy doing videos in his yard though, that I don't entirely understand. Coming near the end, we have a sneak peek of the new Dynamic Principles holster system that you'll hopefully see soon and uses our same QLS system with a bit of a secret modification from Defense Mechanisms and a Safariland 6345 RDS holster in black with our blacked out Bull EDC. And I know this isn't a pistol review video, but this EDC is just fantastic. And yes, it locks in place. Coming back to the start, we have our glove module added into this one also with our black Oakley SI Flexion 2.0 gloves. These are like a billion times better than the Mechanics, the black Mechanics one. Those are like straight up mall cop version. We'll just say the Mechanic ones go great if your duty job pretty much requires you to wear a face mask. Otherwise, not really, those aren't that great. But that's this whole setup, and I think we've seen kind of a wide range going from our more common assaulter configuration to a more role-specific duty setup. But let's go even further and go into one more role, widen this gap even further, and show a competition race gun setup. And here's kind of an overview. You're gonna see the race gun setup is configured more for speed, like a gamer setup, and less as concern for snag hazards. Now, the first thing you'll notice that's different is the prototype ratcheting buckle module on the front. This should be coming soon and has been highly requested by all of you. I have mine set up slightly offset so the tongue of the ratcheting buckle has room behind the holster, and I have the full front to add in mags. The buckle also has a ratcheting strap style tightening, so it's easy to get it super tight and adjust. I was a little bit skeptical about how this would work, like if it would really work in like a normal double belt configuration, but it works really well, particularly being able to have it looser as the day goes on, like if you eat a meal or something, and then being able to ratchet it and tighten up if you go to an event or if you're up to shoot on the stage next. And what's really cool is that these buckle modules take just a minute or two to change out. So you can swap to this style of configuration, do the Cobra buckle, do the ratcheting buckle, and still have the same belt and not have to buy a whole new configuration. That's one of the best parts about the MB3 for sure. But yeah, Crow, keep an eye out, ratcheting magic is coming your way. For the pistol pouches, I again went with the Cantables, but did a 2011 mag pouch setup with a more aggressive waterfall design to allow for fast and easy reloads in more of that competition space. Now, would this make sense for a duty configuration? No, I think that would be a little bit weird. But we're seeing the breadth of what this belt can do to go from a very role-specific law enforcement duty setup all the way to a race gun configuration. Now, since it's designed for competition, the rest of the belt is empty minus the smaller RTS IFAK for emergencies. It's the smaller version of the one we showed earlier. It's still great. For our holster, we're using the Range Kinetics Carnivore with their 1.75 belt attachment kit and our Bull Blaze 2011. The holster was recommended by our viewers and works great as a bucket option as it locks the pistol in place when you're not up to shoot at a stage, while also using this ball head to give you a ton of different angle options along with whatever ride height you want. I have to say I was kind of blown away as I wasn't expecting this level of adjustment where I could tweak it and get it perfect and then just really crank up the speed. The only small issue I had was the curve was too thin for the included hardware, as Kinetics is likely expecting an older generation belt. But the Dynamic Principles nuts work perfectly to get it all seated down. I will pause here and say the race gun setup surprised me the most, as the MB3 now had a ratcheting buckle, customized holster, and pistol mag pouches that were custom set for me, and I could run so much faster in a competition. It was definitely wild, but here's just some different options for you wizards to configure this new Dynamic Principles MB3 belt. Like you can go, as we showed, in the more standard assaulter belt, do more role-specific loadouts like our duty setup, or just lean heavily into that crazy speed with a more race gun setup. I'll be honest that I like these setups and they're pretty cool, but I'm even more excited to see some of the suggestions you guys all have. Like, I know there was even some good suggestions that you guys mentioned in the review video that I know that Dynamic Principles has already started work on. I'll go ahead and spoil it for you. It's definitely the bike mount. That's the one I want above all else. But I hope this video of the Dynamic Principles MB3 Loadout was helpful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon supporters and our YouTube members. You make it possible we can put all these belts together and come back and show you a bunch of options so you are better educated as a consumer as to what you want and what your options are and what other belts are kind of garbage. Like we don't even mention it. The other one, the gunfighter that nobody actually wants to buy. I also want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below as what loadout you would do and what modules you're waiting for. I'll bug Dynamic Principles and get them started on them. All right, everyone, Walsh out. .4 monkey. Yes, absolutely. And that's what we did on our Lost More. Not just on the bits I'm going to show you, like the pouches and the cantables and all that. You can use it. Well, I'm still laughing because Tier has some complete piece of garbage belt that they're thinking they need to protect this gunfighter brand because that's the one that everybody wants. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody is trying to buy that piece of garbage when belts like this exist. Nobody's that excited about your 2001 belt. I'm sorry to break it to you. All right, guys, though, I think I need to stop being sassy. I'm pretty sure there's a storm coming. I'm falling in love with these belts, though. I'm trying not to ruin all the cool, exciting stuff that's coming, so just stay tuned. I'm going to get out of here. You guys are great. Yeah, there's definitely a storm coming. All right, bye.